Welcome to your Daily Dose. My name is Robert here with Chris, and we're talking all things King Con, the October 2024 convention, first ever Stephen King convention, highly successful. Heard on an earlier episode, hopefully with Chris Webster, that 2026, it's happening. We know
Black.
it's for sure. It's almost certainly going to be back in Vegas. So I know they're hearing other opportunities, but they loved that it happened there at the link.
The link was a great place to stay. I had a blast at the link.
That's what I was going to ask you. What was your experience like in Las Vegas? And are you a Las Vegas guy at all? Have you been before?
I have been before. I am not. I know you live there. I
Yeah.
and have been a dealer at the tables, and which is fascinating. And we should talk about that some other time. But I have been a couple of times previously, just as vacation. Just like I enjoy going. It's been about 10 years, and I was literally the whole time going, wow, even 10 years, this place has changed. The sphere, just all the stuff. But yeah, I do like it. I like going. I'm not a huge gambler, and so I have a very sort of a thing I do when I'm there that does not cost a lot of money. And I won last time. I didn't win this time, but either way, it doesn't harm me, financially. But I like the $10 blackjack tables. Like that's my sort of thing, right? And
Okay. Yeah,
um,
that was what I dealt was 21, and it was my game. Until I dealt 21, it was my game. After I dealt it, I said, I'm not
you're
playing
like,
this
no, I'm
anymore.
done. You know all the things now. You're like, no, never.
I
Yeah,
was
fair
so
enough.
close.
Fair enough.
I
Um,
mean, yeah. Now, do you have your technique when you sit down at the table, or you're like, do you have certain rules
I
or
don't
the way
do it
you
enough.
play?
I know the rules, and I have like a handful of like mental. Okay, I'm going to do this if this happens, but I do not. I do not. I play for fun, and I think that that's key. Like as long as you set, hey, here's my budget. I'm not
Yeah.
breaking my budget. I'll either win or lose, and if I lose all this budget, that was my play money, and it's fine. And that's how I approach that, and it's never let me down.
That's very healthy. And I mean, one of the first casino guys I met, I worked on cruise ships for a while. He talked about that exactly. He said, you have to budget it the same way you budget entertainment
Yep.
so that you don't, I mean, you don't go, to a concert and after go, I can't believe I spent that. No, you spent that money. So
Right.
you go in with that mentality here saying it's going to be entertaining to be here. And at any given point, you have the right to stop, however you're feeling. And if it's having lost a little, won a little, whatever,
Yeah.
but you've got the floor. And it's
Yep.
but what I saw when I used to deal that scared me, and it's very common is when people start chasing. And
Yeah.
you can see the addiction on people. It's like, and we see in some of our dollar babies. I don't know if you saw Last Rung, Max's.
Yeah. I did not. I do want to see it. I need to message
It
him.
was
Yeah.
good. And what he did, he personified. We've seen this in other films, but he did it very well. What he called the carnival barker, and I forget the part of like despair or whatever. It was dealing with the inner demon of this character.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
could see that on addicts who were sitting at my table,
Right.
And King is a master of writing those kinds of
Yeah.
psychological horrors.
He understands that 100%. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So when you see it in real life, an addiction, I think part of the reason King's so brilliant is he's so honest about his own addiction, right?
Yep.
So putting that forward and saying, yeah, man, cocaine was nuts and drinking was this. And, it's
Right.
like, and that's why I have to be clean so I can live, because otherwise those monsters, they're here. They're right
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
When you think of horror, are you a fan of like what variety, what flavor are you?
Yeah. So I like both, and by both I mean I like the sort of uh inconsequential fun horror, right? Which is, I mean, I think slashers kind of fall into that realm, right? And then there's like the very serious horror, like there's stuff like I thought I just saw great, actually a great tie-in here is I just worked on I do sometimes do Blu-ray producing. I think we talked about that a little bit. I just finished producing the 10th anniversary edition of The Taking of Deborah Logan, which is a absolutely fantastic movie that is a found footage movie that is ostensibly about Alzheimer's, a woman with Alzheimer's that then turns into a possession movie. And it's, I mean, it's a fantastic film, but it's also one of those films that really like digs into the horror. Like, it kind of puts a supernatural spin on a real life horror, and it's just extraordinary. And and we did all the special features, and to tie it back into King Khan, in the special features, this movie came out on Netflix 10 years ago, and they name checked two people who were very instrumental in getting an eyeballs on it at Netflix. And one was Guillermo del Toro, and the other was Mike Flanagan, who did Gerald's Game, who which screened at King Con, and he sent a message. He's hopefully going to come to the next one. But that's I just thought that was a cool little tie-in. But that's I love stuff like that too. Like that is a very consequential film. That has a lot of stuff going on in it versus a fun slasher. I like them both.
Yeah, and I tend to be more on the films that do have the realistic edge, the psychological edge. I mean, I love Supernatural, by the way, because like mythologically speaking, when we can take something intangible like Alzheimer's, like Parkinson's in my community, just the emotion of fear, whatever it is, and turn it into a character, right? Pennywise, of course, right? I mean, that helps us, I think, as a species go, that's what that is, that thing, that feeling, that whatever, because otherwise these conditions we go through become very squishy. And if we only treat them, I mean, this is where I really feel, I think you heard me say that, writing is medicine. And I have that line, get busy writing or get busy dying. If we don't understand our personal narratives and our personal stories about our own health, we can quickly spiral into a negative condition that isn't, regardless of pills, surgeries, or whatever the traditional Western medicine is looking at. If you're not dealing with this side of it, none of this is going to play.
Right.
And, that's why, I mean, again, I'm soapboxing a little bit, but
you're fine.
being on that side of more than therapy, which is great, more than support groups, which are great, but storytelling. This is the power I think all of us have to help other people recognize, grow, and share their stories so that we're all better.
Yeah, absolutely. Good storytelling is processing, right? Like it's literally digesting real things that people go through and presenting perspectives on it.
And sometimes digesting real body parts. Okay, that's a survivor. Hey, Chris, I can't thank you enough for the time. And speaking of survivor type, I'll put it out there so people know we had a great conversation, and I'm going to send you a script I made because that is a very meaningful story to me too. And I look forward to what you think, and we'll let people know maybe what we think after you take a look at it. Okay,
that'd be great. I'd love to.
All right, buddy. You take care, and we'll see you all on the next dose.